Hey guys, it's the nerd half of this Nerdtroverts duo, and today I'm doing a book haul. So in the month of December, not only is there Christmas, but there is also my birthday. And so I just have like a little stack of books that I got for my birthday and for Christmas that I thought I'd share with you guys. But I also have another slightly bigger stack of books that I bought in like the month of September that I still haven't read yet because I got a full-time job and so I stopped reading. But I thought I'd share those as well because, you know, it's the last quarter of the year. Still counts. The first two books I got are Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. These are like the collector's edition, special edition covers, and they're very pretty, and I just picked them both up at once. I don't even know if I'm gonna like Six of Crows. I'm in the middle of reading it. But they're so pretty, and I figured it's only a duology, so I might as well just buy them both. I don't know how to describe what Six of Crows is about, but it's a pretty well-known book. But I couldn't tell you what it was about, really, if you held a gun to my head. I think they're planning a heist. I don't know for sure. But I am very excited to read these when I have time. The next book that I have is Of Ice and Shadows by Audrey Coulthurst. This is the sequel to Of Fire and Stars. I read Of Fire and Stars this year and I really enjoyed it, and so I just figured I'd pick up the sequel. I've heard great things about this series and yeah, I'm really excited. It's basically about these two women who fall in love, but it's forbidden not because they're two women but because one of them is engaged to the other's brother as like an arranged marriage sort of thing, and she also has magic which is forbidden or like frowned upon. I can't really remember. I think it's forbidden, and basically yeah, they fall in love and it's a really well written romance, and I don't really have anything else to say. I'm trying to get through this as quickly as possible. I'm not sure if you can tell. But yeah, I really enjoyed Fire and Stars, and so I'm excited to eventually getting around to reading the sequel. The next book that I got is a Rick Riordan Presents book, and it's Arusha and the End of Time by Roshani Chokshi. I know I just butchered that name and I fully apologize. I should have looked it up. But this is one of the Rick Riordan Presents books, and I picked it up because I've known about Rick Riordan Presents forever and I just never got around to buying them, so I bought a couple and I'm very excited to see how good they are and if I do enjoy them as much as I enjoyed Percy Jackson. But I know that it's not Percy Jackson, but also like this cover is gorgeous, so like even if I don't like it, that's totally fine. The other Rick Riordan Presents book I got is The Storm Runner by J.C. Cavant? I'm not really sure what this or even the other book was about, but they're both Rick Riordan Presents books, which just means that they're based on mythology. But because Rick as a white man knew that it wasn't his place to write every single mythology, he found books that were very similar in style to Percy Jackson and has sort of like boosted them up and published them, I think. But I'm really excited to give them a try and see if they are actually any good, because I don't know. I haven't heard anything about these books. The next couple books I'm not going to go into details about. I watched like a couple of recommendation videos for like LGBT stories and like stories of people of colour and just like and mental disorders and things like that, like books that weren't just, you know, your average protagonist, which I have a lot of. I wanted to sort of read more kinds of stories, and so I bought a bunch that were recommended by a booktuber that I do trust in most of her recommendations. She actually very recently made an unhaul video which actually features two of the books that I bought, but like it's fine. I'm sure they're still good books, but I just don't have a lot of information about them, so I'm just kind of going to go through them really quickly so you can just sort of see what I got. Queens of Geek by Jen Wilde. Girls Made of Stars by Ashley Herring Blake. The Bells by Donielle Clayton. Paperweight by Meg Haston. And If I Was Your Girl by Meredith Russo. The next three books that I bought were all kind of like birthday presents for myself. That is The Red Scrolls of Magic and The Lost Book of the White by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu. So I bought the hardback editions of Red Scroll of Magic and Lost Book of the White because they recently like changed the cover of like the way these books are being published, but I don't really love the new covers, so I wanted to buy the new covers while they were still being printed. I was afraid that the like double-sided what are these called, dust jackets, were gonna stop being printed, and like that is like my worst nightmare. So I just bought it, and I bought the Red Scrolls of Magic to go with it. The original Red Scrolls of Magic that I own is like, oh, it's down here, is the Waterstones special edition, which just happened to be in like my local bookshop. But I was afraid I wouldn't be able to get the Lost Book of the White in that edition, hence why I bought these. But then when I bought those, I also found the Waterstones edition of Lost Book of the White, so I just bought that one as well, because treat yourself. You know what I mean? It's my birthday. I can do what I want. So the Red Scrolls of Magic is basically just another Shadowhunters book. They're set in like slightly different points in time, so they are linear, like they are in chronological order, but like this is set around City of Fallen Angels, I think. It's like right after City of Glass. But then like this book, which I have not yet read yet, I believe is set post City of Heavenly Fire. So yes, they are linear, but it's not immediate, if that makes sense. But it's basically just about Magnus Bane and Alec Lightwood, who are two of the main characters from the Mortal Instruments, and just some of their stories as they, I don't know, come across. I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen in this book. I only know what happened in this book. But they are very good, and honestly, like, I just love Alec and Magnus. I love their stories. I love their dynamic. And I do really enjoy the Shadowhunter series. I like shit on it sometimes because it is not always great. But I do overall really like the world that Cassandra Clare has made, and I have read everything that she's put out in it. So like, maybe I don't hate it as much as I thought I did. But yeah, I am very excited to read Lost Book of the White. I will get there eventually. And next up are the actual birthday presents. Some of these books I have already read and just didn't own a copy of, and some of them are sequels of books I have yet to read. So I'll start with the books that I have already read, and so the first book is The Iron Trial by Cassandra Clare and Holly Black. Now I do technically already own this, but I'm going to show you why I bought a new version. This is currently what my Magisterium series looks like, and I hate it. I bought the first book in person, and the second book, same cover, pegged back. I figured it would be the same. It arrived much smaller. And then I was like, well, I obviously have to re-buy one of them. And then I was like, you know what, I just want the hardbacks. And so I bought the next two books in hardbacks. And now I just have to buy the first two books in hardback, which, you know, I just did. So I really enjoyed the Magisterium series and the Iron Trial. It's sort of like, the further on I've gotten into the series, the worse it's gotten. I'm hoping the last book will be okay, but I haven't heard great things about it. But anyway, I'm just going to own them all in the hardback because they are really nice and I do really want them. And that's kind of why I asked for them for my birthday, like the books that I'd already read, because why would I buy a book that I've already read when I could buy a book that I haven't read and want to read? So when it was my birthday, I was like, oh, this is the perfect opportunity to just buy books that I want that I haven't gone out of my way to buy for myself yet. And so the Iron Trial was pretty much right up there because I'd wanted this for ages, but I just didn't want to spend the money on it. So the next book that I got for my birthday is Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. This is kind of a sequel to Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, or Love Simon. But it follows Leah, who is the other character, and I don't know if you have to read them both, but I would probably recommend reading Simon versus first, because I don't know how great of a job it does introducing the characters. But I read this book a couple years ago and I've just never got around to buying it. I borrowed it from a friend. But I really love Becky Albertalli's works. I still need to buy The Upside of Unrequited, but that is future me's problem. It's just basically about Leah, who is bisexual and going through her last year of high school. And I think she feels like out of place with her friends. I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember everything, but I do remember that I really enjoyed my time with this book, and yeah, I just really wanted to own it, so here we are. The next book is Higher, Further, Faster by Liza Palmer, which is a Captain Marvel story. So my friend bought this book like when the Captain Marvel movie came out, and then she lent it to me to read, and I just never got around to buying a physical copy. So here we are, physical copy. If you don't know what Captain Marvel is, it's basically a Marvel character. She's a super powerful, awesome, badass woman who has crazy amazing powers. But this is sort of like an origin story. This is before she gets her powers. This is when she's just trying to be a fighter pilot in like the 80s. I'm not 100% sure what decade it's set in, but it is set in a time where women weren't supposed to fly fighter, and so they're met with like a lot of prejudice and stuff. But Carol and her best friend Maria, they are determined to be amazing and be fighter pilots, and this is their story. And I found that it fit really well with the Captain Marvel movie. I really enjoyed it. I have like no bad things to say about this book. I actually really enjoyed it, and I don't know why it took me so long to buy the damn version of it, like a physical version of it, because it's such a good book. What is wrong with me? So next up I have The Hidden Oracle by Rick Riordan, which is the first book in the Trials of Apollo series. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I do already own The Hidden Oracle, but I own them in the UK paperback versions, and I wanted the US hardback version. Which is another reason why like I asked my mum to buy it for me for my birthday, because I already owned it. I couldn't justify spending the money on buying another version, but it was my birthday, so I could ask for whatever I wanted, and she doesn't know any better. She doesn't know I already have it. Nobody tell her. I really love The Hidden Oracle, and I absolutely adore these covers. The hardback covers that Rick Riordan has for his work are stunning, and I love them, and I want to own all of them. And so now I'm going to start. There's 4 more to buy. I will get there eventually. But yeah, Trials of Apollo, it's basically just about Apollo becoming human and having to go through a bunch of trials to become a god again. It also features all of his oracles, because he's like the god of oracles amongst other things. They've all been like stolen, and their powers are like no longer in control of the gods kind of thing, and so he has to free them because they're his responsibility, but he's human. So there's conflict. Now onto the books that I haven't actually read yet. First up is Camp Jupiter Classified by Rick Riordan. I'm really mad about this. This is why I'm mad. Because they're different and they should be the same. You might think that I shouldn't be mad because they're not that different, but I have the Magnus Chase version and I also have the Kane Chronicles version, and they are exactly the same, and like this is such a dumb thing to be mad about, but I am mad about it. But anyway, yeah, I have Camp Jupiter Confidential. Or Classified, sorry. It's Camp Half-Blood Confidential and Camp Jupiter Classified. My bad. I didn't actually know this existed until I picked up the last Trials of Apollo book, but I saw it in like the UK paperback edition and I was like, no, that's not good enough. I want the matchy-matchy, and then it's not really matchy-matchy, but it's basically matchy-matchy. Like, it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, this is just a little side story that just accompanies, I guess, the Trials of Apollo series, but it would go through Camp Jupiter and like the Praetors and all the information you need to know about that kind of place. It's just kind of like an add-on information book. So the next book that I got is Two Dark Reigns by Kendara Blake. This is the 3rd book in the 3 Dark Crown series. Side note, I hate the way this is like laid out, because it's 3 Dark Crowns, 1 Dark Throne, 2 Dark Reigns. That is the order that these books were published in, and that is the most confusing thing ever. This is the 3rd book in the series, and it's basically about these like 3 queens, these sisters competing to be queen, and they have to kill each other to become queen, and they've all got like their own special powers, and it's a very like complex, interesting novel, and I'm really excited to continue on with the series. Yeah, it's one of the few books that I bought that I haven't read, and I'm very excited to read it. It's such a great series. It's a little confusing. There's like a lot of different characters to remember and keep track of, like who knows who and who's allied with who. Like, it's a lot, but it's also very good and it's very well written. So I'm excited to continue. And the last book, see, we're done, we're there, we made it. The last book is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. This is not really a sequel, but kind of an add-on to like Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, which I only read a couple years ago. In Fangirl, the main character, she's writing like a well-loved fan fiction about basically a rip-off Harry Potter called like Simon Snow or something. And this is the fanfiction. Rainbow Rowell wrote it because there was such a high demand for it. I don't actually know all that much about it. It's just like these 2 people that are like magical. I don't know if they're wizards, but they're magical in some sense. You've got like the great protagonist, then you've got the antagonist. But they fall in love. And that's kind of all I know about it. I am a little miffed because I'll put a picture up. This is the cover that I wanted and what was advertised when I bought it. And it's not how it came. And like, it's not that big of a deal, but it is. I waited to buy this for this specific cover, and then I didn't get it, and like, it's fine, like it's just a dust jacket, but like I don't love this color scheme, and like, again, it's so dumb. It's dust. It's just a dust jacket. But I'm also such a book collector, hence why I got like another Trials of Apollo, why I've got like multiple versions of books. It's because I like collecting books. I like how they look, and this doesn't look how I want it. Like, it's fine. and I'm sure the book's still going to be great, but I'm still allowed to be slightly upset about it. But yes, that's it. We did it. That is all of the books that I bought in sort of the last quarter of the year. I know this was probably a long one. A lot of my videos are, because I just put them off for so long and then I have so many books to talk about. But I hope you enjoyed this little haul. If you have any questions about any of the books that I kind of skimmed over or anything of the like, you can comment and I will do my best to respond as quickly as possible. I don't always get the notifications, but I do like to read your comments and I try to respond to every single one. So if you have any questions, please do comment down below and I will chat. If you want to chat about any of the books, let's chat. Except maybe the ones I haven't read yet, because spoilers. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I guess I'll see you next time. Bye!